All right, everybody. So, all right. So, on this Tuesday afternoon here in France and Tuesday morning in Santa Fe, for about what's left, 23 minutes or something, let's use our minds. To contemplate. But first we get the body in a conducive position. The body doesn't meditate. It's really important to remember that. We get so caught up with our bodies, you know. So if our body feels good, we said, oh, I had a good meditation. That's not meditation. But the body's necessary to have in a good position. So let's just check the position. Best is to be in full lotus position. If you can't do that, in half. If you can't do that, ordinary, cross-legged. If you can't do that, in a chair. Whatever we can do, okay? But the idea is to have the body very stable. Because if you start to become a serious meditator, trying to get concentration or just trying to simply concentrate while you contemplate things, you need to be alert. And the body to be in a suitable position helps the mind stay alert. So if you're in a chair, don't slump into the chair, okay? Have the back sitting, have your back upright, have your feet firmly on the ground and your back upright, not slumping into the chair. That's important. Your hand can be in the meditation mudra or gesture. There's several yogis have developed several ways of doing it, with the left hand underneath, the right on top, the thumbs forming a triangle. Otherwise, it's relaxed in your knee, on your knees as you wish. And your head should be slightly tilted forward, not thrust back. That makes the mind agitated. Slightly tilted forward. Chin tucked in a little bit. Lips slightly apart. Tip of the tongue resting behind the top teeth. And your eyes looking down, as if you're looking along your nose towards the ground. So just settle into this position and then forget about it, okay? So we'll do this, we'll start with this, a technique that often the lamas would start their sessions with. It's called, and Lama Yeshe talks about this before you do, say, a Mahamudra technique or others, you do this 9-round breathing meditation. So it's useful because it's, you know, it's using the breath, which is very natural, but also you're using your conceptuality, you're thinking something, you're imagining, you're visualizing, and that can be very helpful. But of course, if our energies were more subtle, we would notice the difference. We would notice, like in the mornings, they say the air's sort of balanced. I mean, there's different things about the air energies that are quite subtle that most of us would never even notice. But this technique is said to help us balance the wind energies. And of course, this is important if we have the Vajrayana model, because our minds, our different states of mental consciousness, are connected to these different winds. So if the winds are really berserk, that's why your mind is berserk, you know, when you're very anxious, for example. It's the wind energies out of control. So we think we're going to do this just a few minutes of this breathing technique. Why? So we can develop our marvelous potential, so we can be a benefit to others. Thinking like this. So we're going to do just sets of three sets, sets of three lots of breathing. And there's a different way that the lamas teach it. So we're going to link this technique, we're going to link it to the three poisons, these three toxic emotions, attachment, aversion, and then this ignorance, the root delusion, So we're going to kind of try and visualize purifying the kind of grosser level of these three toxic emotions. So the attachment, for example, we're going to imagine purifying all the heavy energy of attachment, which is this always dissatisfied, this deep assumption. It's automatic, always never enough, never have enough, I am not enough, I don't achieve enough. It's very primordially deep inside us, this dissatisfaction. Another function of attachment is therefore always hankering after something else, because if you're dissatisfied, you always want something more, don't you? So the constant hunger for something. Then all the kind of, the manipulating to get it, and the expectation of getting it, and then the possessing of it and the clinging to it. All of these are functions of attachment. So imagine, I'll just tell you all this first, then we can do it. So we visualize all the air going out the left nostril. And when we visualize that, we visualize it's all this attachment energy, dissatisfaction, hankering, expectation, neediness, manipulating, controlling, and possessing. All of this is a function of attachment that causes us so much pain. Then when we breathe out through the right nostril, we breathe out all the opposite, which is the response when attachment doesn't get what it wants, which is aversion. It can be volatile anger, or it can be more subtle, as frustration and annoyance, or even more deep as depression. So we visualize all of this part of all this energy of aversion completely disappearing through our right nostril, like this yucky smoke we visualize. And the third three will be through both nostrils. And one function of this ego grasping, the root delusion, is kind of like, indifference, uncaring, kind of deep, sort of a dull indifference, uncaring, that also manifests as like indifferent to people's feelings, kind of indifference, uncaring, like a dull, thick, heavy state of mind. So the way we think this is we kind of imagine the breathing. So the first three, the attachment, you visualize all the attachment leaving like yucky smoke through your left nostril. And it disappears into space. Really have that confidence. And then the next three, the anger, you visualize it all leaving through the right nostril, this yucky smoke. And the third three, of course, through both. But you can add another piece of, attach, you can add another visualization. So first, obviously, we have to breathe in, don't we? So when we breathe in first through the right nostril, you imagine breathing in all the opposite to attachment, all the blissful energy of even all the holy beings. Can you imagine like Buddha in front of us, and you're breathing in all the perfect, blissful light energy of all the holy beings of the universe, breathing it in through your right nostril, like delicious, like blissful light. Completely breathing it in, and you visualize it fills you, and then when you breathe out, you imagine it driving out all the yucky smoke of the attachment, the neediness, the expectation, the dissatisfaction energy. Really want that. Then you do the opposite. When you breathe in through the left nostril, all the radiant, blissful light energy of this, powerful, patient, brave, courageous, blissful light coming in, and then driving out all the aversion, the anger, the despair, the depression, the frustration, all the yucky smoke through the right nostril. And the same, breathing all the blissful light through both, driving out all the, dissatisfaction, the ignorance, indifference, uncaring energy. So you're using your breath, really kind of nice rhythmical breathing, not intense, not forced. And then visualizing, wanting, using your mind, visualizing this, wanting this, imagining this. So you do it at your own pace. Out in blissful light through the right, out attachment through the left. In blissful light through the left, out aversion through the right. In blissful light through both, out ignorance, indifference through both. So you do it at your own pace. And if you forget, just start again, doesn't matter. So be very relaxed about it, but focused. Taking these good, relaxed, but complete breaths. And all the light coming in, feeling it's the blessing that all the holy beings of the universe entering into you. Be very happy. Have confidence in your mind, When we do the purification practice, as Lama Yeshe said, or maybe Lama Zopa, it's your mind, Lama Yeshe, it's the mind that creates negativity. Well, it's your mind that purifies it by creating positivity. Your mind creates everything. So the more confidence you have, the more focus, the more wish that you have, then that empowers your mind. It's amazing. That's exactly what will happen. So be confident in the power of your own mind as you do the practice. And if you lose concentration, you just start again. So now you relax for about 30 seconds, 1 minute. Just relax your mind, your body. So now we continue to use our mind, but this time we're going to simply concentrate, not visualize anything. Don't use our conceptuality at all for this last 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes of our session. We're going to do a simple concentration technique. And the purpose of this meditation is not to engage in conceptuality. That doesn't mean your thoughts won't be there, of course, until you're highly advanced. The thoughts are going to be raging on all the time. That's what happens. But here, the action you're doing is simply training your attention, the part of your mind called attention, to simply focus on one thing. And the thing we'll use simply is the mind itself. This is part of Mahamudra. So then you just for a moment, so all you're going to do is just, settle yourself again, get concentrated, get focused, get your body comfortable. And we're going to simply train to concentrate, to pay attention to an object. And the object, that doesn't mean a physical thing. Whatever your mind is cognizing, that's its object. So here the object of your attention is whatever arises in your mind. So the thoughts will be coming. The thoughts will be coming. Normally when thoughts come, we just sink into them and then start talking to them and having a conversation and building them up and going crazy. Here, you allow the thoughts to come. You do not push them away. The goal is not to make them go away. That's not the purpose. You allow the thoughts to come, let them be there, but mind your own business. Step back. Don't engage in them. Don't criticize. Don't converse with them. Don't label them. You simply pay attention to whatever arises in your mind. Strong determination. That's what you got. That's the action you're going to do. Keep your mind alert. Don't sink into it. Don't space out as if you're, keeping very sharp attention. You pay a very strong attention. You keep alert, watching what's happening, just observing the breath, observing the thought, whatever the thoughts are. Allow them to come, allow them to go. Keep the mind alert. Okay, relax. That's it. That's our 23 minutes, 22 minutes gone like a dream. We made an effort to channel it, to use it. So be delighted. That's it, people. That's it. The big advantage, I always like to tell us this, it's really important. The goal, the action of concentration meditation is to not engage in the thoughts. So one of the biggest misconceptions we have is, oh, I had a bad meditation. I had so many thoughts. Well, of course you did. A bad meditation would be if you forgot you're simply concentrating on the mind or concentrating on the breath and you started engaging in the thoughts and you forgot what you're doing. That's quote unquote a bad meditation. But having thoughts is not the sign of a bad meditation. Keeping focused on the object of concentration, that's the job you're doing. So then be glad, be delighted, And the other thing is the benefit of, it's sort of like you're stepping, in this type of meditation, you're stepping back. We're usually mindlessly involved in all our thoughts until they're screaming, But here we're stepping out of our head, if you like, and you're just focusing on the breath. In this case, we're focusing on the thought, on the mind itself. But you can't help but notice the thoughts, and that's good. Because when you come into your daily life, your job is to be aware of what you're thinking so you can grab it and change it, work it, see what it is before it drives you crazy or makes somebody else crazy. So we need to see our thoughts because they're the problem. So don't think it's bad having thoughts. It's a misconception. Of course, when you're advanced with concentration, you will have gone to a level beyond conceptual. What's marvelous. But meanwhile, learn from what we observe in our mind. It's marvelous in your daily life. Then you're really in control, Well, that's it, sweetie pies. I'm on the train soon. I'm going to take the plane soon from Toulouse to Paris. I'll be there for a week, teaching in the French Center this weekend, the Paris Center. And then I'll be off somewhere else after that, to Italy. Okay, darlings, thank you so much, Lou. Well done. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the team.